everything changes.
Hey, welcome back. 2 sessions left in this 10-part series. Now, the last few modules we talked about the importance of using data and analysis, and then also creating the right math-based action approach. For some, I know this can be overwhelming or even boring, yet it is a needed and important element in creating a balanced and strategic approach to managing your revenue. We're going to lighten things back up again in this session and discuss the importance of identifying and adapting the behaviors that were expressed by that group of highly effective and confident marketers. Okay, as we talked about the need and the ways to modify and change behavior, we need to start with understanding our own human nature. So by nature, humans are lazy. That's right. Now, certainly there are degrees of laziness, right? The unmotivated, slobby lazy. I'm not talking about that. I'm expressing that we adapt our life and our processes to be efficient with our physical and mental energy. Without a motivation, it is difficult to overcome our human laziness and change on our own willpower. We need to identify our behaviors that are leading to the unsatisfactory results and actively and consciously replace or modify them with ones that have shown to bring in better results. So it all starts by, in a sense, calling ourselves out. Okay? Calling ourselves out and understanding that in order to really change, we need to set up a mechanism for success. So we need to actually, first step is to be aware of our own BS. Right? Awareness of our constraints, awareness of our behaviors, awareness of the way we push things off or try to justify not wanting to change because we're lazy. And again, we're all in the same boat on this. So, one thing we identified in those habits of the most effective marketers was that they, one, had a different view, but all were geared towards producing better results. So let's take a look at a few of those behaviors. One is, of course, they learn to manage their emotions and not lead their marketing and revenue management decisions with their emotions, realizing that emotional decisions rarely do they pan out well. Of course, they used strategy instead of making decisions on outlook. Rather than trying to predict where the market would go, they spent time rehearsing and building in all different strategies so they were prepared. They spend time assessing the odds and probabilities, using that math in all their decision making. Of course, they built in the right structure, which ended up creating better consistency in how they approach making decisions. They spend time rehearsing the future and market scenario planning. And of course, all encompassing, they use math in every decision. And they liken that to everything else they did on farm. So I'm going to quickly walk through 8 additional habits that were identified by that group of effective and confident marketers. And trust me, we could spend 20 minutes on each one of these really drilling down and building in the meaning and value. Yet I'll save that for another time or another video series. For now, let's just fly at 20,000 feet and look at a few more of those key habits. So first on the list was consistency. That group realized that consistency was the key towards better revenue management. And again, looking at other aspects of their operation, from production to how they manage their operation from the financial side, it all revolved around consistency. So of course the revenue management needed to as well. That group really avoided being greedy. They didn't let greed become the enemy of being good or consistently good. It wasn't about trying to outguess the market or hit home runs. It was trying to be consistently good and on pace, which kept them more consistent overall. Another one is they didn't move the goalposts halfway through the year. It's easy early on in the year to set some objectives when things are quiet and you're planning things out, and then you get in the hustle and bustle of planting and taking care of the crop and summer weather and vacations and all this different news and things happening, and it's easy then to move your objectives and goalposts because now you feel differently. That group realized that they needed to keep their focus where it belonged and then have contingency plans laid out for the what-if scenarios. Another thing is they were competitive, but they were competitive where it really mattered. They weren't competing against their neighbor, trying to outprice them. They were competing against the marketplace and trying to maximize their effectiveness in their decisions. Another key one is they focused on the information that really mattered. We talked about this in the last module, the data insight module, but they learned to separate the intelligence that they needed to make good sound decisions from all the noise and clutter that was out there. Of course, they followed protocol, or followed the right protocol with what they were trying to accomplish, and that was focusing on managing revenue, including in those calculations, their physical grain and the value of that physical grain and what decisions they could make with the hedge account or alternative tools to balance out their risk and exposure. They also, of course, committed the proper amount of time. Some could do this on their own if it was their focus and they were willing to devote time away from something else for marketing and revenue management. Many of them, though, found the right level of professional help and guidance to make sure the proper amount of time and planning and research and analytics, as well as strategy building, was put into the equation. And of course, they followed the old Boy Scout motto and were always prepared and spent time rehearsing the future. Now, understand and accept this. To achieve the same level of results and confidence that has been achieved by that group of effective and confident marketers, you need to identify and then make some changes on your approach and your behaviors, right? Behavior modification may be necessary to really get you to that next level. And as I said early on, it's not about forcing someone to change. If you don't want to change, I'm not going to make you change, and you're not going to see the benefit of this. But if you truly want to find a way to feel better and more confident in your marketing, here are some steps that have been proven by that group. All it takes is identifying and a will and a desire to change, and then working consistently to replace those behaviors. Okay, we intentionally work to keep this 10-part series as an introductory approach to fostering positive change. Change takes time, and yet it has to start somewhere. There has to be a start date. In the next module, though, we'll discuss, as we close things up in this series, we'll discuss how to approach seeking professional help for your operation and what might be the best for your situation. Okay, once again, I'm happy to be here helping you on this journey as you learn to improve and take back control of your revenue management. Please reflect on your mindset and the need to potentially modify some of your behaviors to achieve better results. And if you haven't yet, consider going to our website under the resource tab and taking that 3-minute marketing assessment and letting us provide some oversight and guidance. Our contact information is on the next slide. And until next time, be safe, be well, and be mindful of the need to modify your behaviors.